pretty much every single day. So if you guys actually want to pop on here, obviously going live, this is not my expertise. My expertise is selling. My expertise is building a business. My expertise is reading a ton of stuff, conglomerating it and giving it to you guys. So the book I'm reading right now is actually about the Netflix co-founder. So if you're into business, you like business management, whatever the case is, it's actually a really good book. And then the one right before that is that I read or audio booked was Getting Naked. Very good book about actually making sure that you're telling the truth, and not only telling the truth, but just being transparent, being honest, just being open, and good things will happen. You know, that's really what it comes down to. So today's topic, and of course, if you guys pop on, I'll mention you guys later, but what I've noticed is that if I acknowledge you guys and the questions while we're live, it's gonna be a 45, 50-minute live every single time, because I could just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. All right, so today's topic is about the little things in life. There's a very popular book out there, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, Everything is Small Stuff, or around that title. And it really holds true. You know, if you really think about it, you know, the test that I use is, I actually got this from Elena Cardone. This thing is really bothering me. Let me just take that down. There's like a mirror and I can see myself in it. And Elena Cardone talked about, you know, when she's ready to have a fight with her husband, Grant Cardone, she says, am I really gonna need this in my life? In other words, for two reasons. Number one is it's gonna be hanging over their head as a relationship, and they're a team and they're building things. And then she said something very interesting, and I've really taken it to heart, which is, am I gonna remember this in 10 years? You know, if you really, truly, truly think about it, there might be one thing per year, maybe every 2 years, one thing. Because to be honest, we're not doing such dramatic things that we're gonna remember everything 10 years down the line. And to be honest, as Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, that's why I document I'm documenting everything. I'm documenting going from subscribers 0 all the way up to 3,300 right now. And then in the future, 100,000 and then 1 million. And then I'm gonna be able to go live and build this community of people that are looking to just better themselves. And on top of my business, you know, I'm not gonna, monetization, I've already talked about, that's not the goal here. The goal is actually, for me, is just to grow every single day, little by little, making it more comfortable for me to talk to you guys live, for me to be able to hold myself accountable to eating right, making sure that I'm reading books, making sure that I'm going to the gym, making sure that I am who I say I am through this. And that's everything. You know, I already talked about it, there's an imposter syndrome, or there's something that's going around with psychiatrists, where people go in, they say, you know, I post this on social media, but I'm really not this way and I don't want to be found out. And they just live in anxiety. Because who they are online is not who they're actually portraying who they're portraying themselves to be online is not who they actually are. Who they actually are. And that's exactly what the book Getting Naked is about. So number one is, am I gonna remember this in 10 years? Because if we can't do the small things, if we can't hold ourselves accountable to the minute things, I've already brought it up, Jordan Peterson said, clean your room. There's a Navy SEAL commander that gave an incredible commencement speech, and he said, make your bed. Those small wins. There's mornings where I take a picture of my watch, and I used to do that for 6 straight months, and then I started implementing other things like going out on dates and things like that. And what I've noticed is one of the biggest things is ensuring that I break it down to small steps. So when I'm ready to go biking and I don't want to go biking, I'm waking up at 4:15, 4:10, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I don't feel like going today. I went to the gym this week. I deserve a rest. And when that clicks, that stupid little thing on my shoulder, and obviously the conclusion is when I'm done and I'm getting back to my apartment after a 50-mile ride, I'm like, that was well worth it. This is the interesting thing is I literally say, just get up. Just walk over to the kitchen. Take a picture of your watch. Now go in the shower, now get dressed. And the reason I go in the shower is because honestly, you've been sleeping all day, and in the morning you have sweat and other things you just need to cleanse off. It's a really good strategy if you're competing or going to something, is that shower before that competition. If you're going to the gym for 45 minutes, it's not that big of a deal. But if you're riding or you're doing something competitively for 3 hours, I'm doing this for 3.5 hours, your sweat builds up, then it dries, and then you get the chills, and then that's how you get cold and sick and everything else. I break it down to the smallest things, because I notice this is the thing. You see me coming back on a bike ride, okay? That's the outcome, okay? The outcome is, or the goal, whatever you want to say, the outcome is the bike ride, okay? That is what I want to do, okay? But the thing is, the incremental steps leading up to that, there's a lot. I got to make sure that I'm hydrated. I want to make sure that I have nutrients in my body. I got to make sure that my tires have air in it. I got to make sure that I just came out of the shower and I'm completely dry, because I don't want to walk into the cold and get cold, because I'm going along the Hudson. It's breezy, even in the summer. Sometimes it's in the mid 60s and you could still get a cold if you keep on doing it. It's the little steps, because that big thing, which is a 50-mile ride, cannot be accomplished without those little steps. The big thing of being in shape, the big thing of a successful relationship occurs when Elena Cardone says, am I going to remember this in 10 years? No? Who gives a shit about this? Okay? Who cares about this argument? Who cares? I want to win the argument? Is that what really this marriage is about? Is that who wins the argument? And they have a show out there, and I highly recommend actually a lot of couples doing this, which is put your stuff out there, because they talk about it on the show, and they're real and they're raw. And she says all the time, she says, there was something that I really wanted to say, and then he says, yeah, I really wanted to get back to you on that. And then they just say, we're in this together. And that's exactly how listen, I struggle like you guys, okay? I'm not here, sitting on a soapbox, even though I'm standing on a mat that's great for standing. But there is so many big things that I want that I notice it comes down to this live. I want to be on stage. I want to have 100,000 or 1 million people following this. I want to have a big audience, but then I also want to have a big business. So it's that balancing act. It's not balanced. How do you live a balanced life? You don't live a balanced life. You live a balancing life. What's my priority right now? Is it business? Is it relationships? What do I need to work on? Is it my health? Is there someone in my family that I need to tend to? Is there something in my business I need to tend to? Am I going, next week I'm going away to San Diego. It's one of those things that you think about and you say, okay, I'm going to be away. There is a gym, but I'm not going to work out as hard. So really it comes down to going to the gym, doing it well, and this is planning it out, because if I don't do that correctly, if I don't do the little things correctly while I'm on vacation, which is going to the gym, when I come back, the big things that I really want to implement, which is onboarding for new agents. I want to have the complete office set up. We have still kind of a gangster setup right now. I do have a really good tripod. It's kind of like coming into its own. This whole studio, I'm thinking of getting a light box, having a green screen, or having BPI behind me. We're going to have totally different, area where the background is different. People see the finished product, but the little steps is everything. We can't get the business, we can't get the relationship without actually talking to your type of person that you want to go on a date with. Whether that's online, whether that's in person, whether that's just putting yourself out there. There's tons of people that want to be in relationships. I'm 33. There's a ton of people of my friends. I don't, but they all want to be in relationships. And the number one thing is, I can't find a good guy. Okay, well, break down your day. Well, I go to work. I'm at work. I go to lunch by myself with my headphones in, come back, eat it at my desk, go home, watch TV, maybe have a 12-inch cylinder of beer, and then go to the gym and repeat the exact same thing. Okay, when do you have the opportunity? You want this big thing, which is a relationship, because that means you've gone on multiple dates for multiple months, and you've both concluded, I want to continue doing this, okay? That relationship starts at the small things. Take your headphones out. Maybe smile at a guy at the gym. Maybe put yourself out there by going out once a week. Maybe say to your friends, hey, listen, do you know anyone that's single? Put yourself out there. Yes, the truism happens. It's the same thing where you're going to kiss frogs before you meet a guy. Of course, yes. Okay, it's the same thing when I call on business. Am I going to get rejected? Yes, all the time. Actually, the majority of the time. It's the same thing when you put yourself out there. Majority of the time, it's not going to work. But then you start saying, okay, I actually like doing this. Whether that is online, whether that is networking, whether that is going out once a week. Maybe you really like yoga or running or cycling. You get into one of those clubs. You can't complain about a big thing in your life that you want to change if you're not doing the small things. It really frightens me sometimes that someone will leave a comment on, well, it's easy for you to say. I will mention in the past in one sentence, which is, I read maybe one book. I'm just gonna say that just to buffer, but I read maybe one book until age 22. I graduated, which I really didn't. I had to take an extra semester, a summer class, and another semester, okay, in 2 weeks. And I was just lost, okay? I've gone on hundreds of, maybe not hundreds, maybe 100 personal development. I've read hundreds of books. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on traveling to better myself over 10 years in just doing stupid things. Maybe this works, maybe that doesn't work. Maybe this works, maybe it doesn't work. But putting yourself out there, those small little incremental steps is, okay, instead of iced tea, I'm gonna drink water. Instead of coffee, I'm gonna drink water. Those little things then go into, I had better teeth, then I don't need the caffeine to wake me up. Those little things add up to, how do you have so much energy? Well, I needed to subsidize that for 10 years, well, maybe not 10, but 8 of sugar, caffeine, tea, maybe even alcohol, tequila, whatever, not during the day, but you have to consider in years. Are you willing to, as Gary, the little incremental steps? I've already talked about self-awareness. Number one is you have to understand your fears. We're going to have an entire live about that this week. You have to understand your fears. You have to understand your emotions, okay? Your emotions, how do I feel right now? I was at one of my favorite places here in the city. It's called Happy Bowls. So Happy Bowls, they have acai, there you go, I finally got it right. Acai bowls or whatever, you understand it. And the person behind there, I know the owner, she's such a sweetheart, and she goes, you always look so relaxed. And I said, yeah, because for most of my life, my heart rate was at my resting heart was at 65, 70. My moving around heart rate was probably at 85. And then I said, I need to track this. And now I look at it, and there's an app, or there's an algorithm that Garmin uses. So this is a Garmin watch. I have the Garmin app. I have Garmin across the board. And one of the biggest things is I now have seen an actual incremental decrease in my heart rate. I've increased how much I go to the gym. I've decreased any shitty food. There's 2 reasons for the shitty food. Number one is it doesn't make me feel right, okay? Number 2 is I don't want problems later in life. I see it all the time. I'm in Times Square. I see on a mass scale how fat tourists go as my freaking lighting goes off from no movement. All right, whatever. We'll just work in the dark. Anyway, subscribe to the video. The little things, see if anyone's watching over there. We've had, oh wow, we've had a couple of comments. What's going on, Chris? What's going on, Mad Lead? I've noticed that you're not expanding your audience lately. Listen, I'm not worried about that. That's not my business. My business is not expanding my audience. My business is putting myself outside of my comfort zone. My business is actually ensuring that when that call comes of that one subscriber that says, I have an event, that I crush that event, I bring my cameraman, he films it, I put it online, then someone else in the audience says, oh, actually, I have an event, and then you start building it from there, okay? I'm not monetizing this. There's no ads on here, there's no books to sell, there's no website. My website is a piece of shit, It's like, I said, you know what, I really, and about 3 years ago, and before, I said, I really want to work on personal development. And for whatever reason, I focused on that. And then I noticed, what did I say about my fears? I noticed that I was doing that instead of doing my fears, which is business development, prospecting, expanding, getting better, buying light sources here, having something behind me. You know, that's really what it comes down to. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. You know, the content is only going to stay the same, whether it's, you know, 3,300 people right here or 5,000 or 5 million. You know, I'm just going to get better and better and better because the audience is going to challenge me, kind of like Jordan Peterson talks about. He says, I talk to people that are brilliant. They are, in their regard, a brilliant evolutionary psychologist. So in other words, psychologist. And he says, when I talk about evolutionary terms, I have to be precise because someone in that audience is a master at it. That is their craft, okay? So continuing on, Charles, have you ever heard of complex PTSD? I have no idea what that is. There was a great motivational where an ex-Navy SEAL said, to make your bed is a first step. Yeah, that's it. That day, can you link the watch in the description? Best books you've read lately. So the watch is called the Garmin Fenix 5S. The Garmin Fenix 5S. And they have a newer one out, but to be honest, you don't need the newer one. The newer one I think has altitude, which I'm not in the mountains. And it has something else. The battery life is the same, blah, blah, blah. It's expensive, but it is incredibly accurate, and that's what I want, because Apple Watch is good, but Garmin does athletes. They train with athletes. They understand everything. Everything they make is for a bike, for running, for aviation, for triathlons, for swimming. Everything they do, that's all they do is athletes. Apple is a technology company. It's a consumer product that the steps may not be accurate. Fitbit would have been the only one, but Fitbit, they were just terribly managed. They should be the one dominating the game right now, but they're not. You know, people have Fitbit, but they're going the way of everything else. And to be honest, I only use this for 3 things. Number 1 is steps. Number 2 is heart rate. And number 3 is temperature. Wow, my heart rate this morning was 171 at one point. That's crazy. 171? I went hard at the gym. And then the best books, man, I would say Radical Honesty was a game changer. Then I went right into the business book that I just read, which is called Getting Naked. I'm reading the Netflix co-founder. I don't know the name of it, but you can, it's right here. I can't see, let me just pull this up. There you go. There you go, powerful. So that is obviously Audible. I really like Audible. I gotta say, Principles was really good. Ray Dalio, obviously he came out with, or the 12 Rules of Life and Principles by Ray Dalio. That was really good. I would say also, what was that one book? I read one really good book about our addiction to technology. And I gotta go back through and read through that. It had crazy statistics. The generation coming up right now is totally screwed. The one afterwards is fine because we're going to learn from it and then we're going to go in an opposite direction. The pendulum always swings to the extreme and then we come back. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I honestly like going live. So anyway, I can't scroll. There we go. Bob Proctor, new book out in a week. Jocko got a new one on leadership soon. Wow, I forgot about Bob's. Yeah. I'm definitely going to pre-order it. So anyway, any questions, leave your comments below. We're going to be expanding. I'm going to be in San Diego next week. So this is the last week until that time. And we're going to be coming out with some good topics. So if you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. Obviously subscribe to the video because Mad Lead wants the audience to expand. Personally, of course I do. But as Gary said, his watch time on vlogs is down. People have so much content. Unless you are at the top of the game, say like a Logan Paul or Jake Paul in vlogging, or you're a Joe Rogan or Lewis Howes in podcasts, or maybe they might even just be targeting people that are using advertising. You know, I don't know, and I don't really care. I just want to get 1% better every single day until that moment hits, and I got to be there and take advantage of it where I'm on live TV and they say you need to just talk without thinking, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Anyway, enjoy your day, subscribe to the video, leave your comments below.